Hi friends, welcome to day 2 of energy. Today our I can statement is I can state the difference between kinetic and potential energy. Yesterday we talked about how energy is not made and that it is transferred. When we look at the light bulb, energy is transferred through electrical energy, and then when we turn on our light switch, light comes out as well as heat. Things we also talked about yesterday was that energy is the ability to do work or is a transfer of energy, and that we cannot lose energy, but it can change forms. So we talked about the 3 different types, but today we are going to focus on kinetic and potential energy. Just a little reminder on what kinetic energy was. This is the energy of motion. Remember, we used our bowling ball analogy yesterday. If you roll a bowling ball down, the energy transferred from me to the bowling ball, then it transferred to the pins, knocking them down, and no energy was lost. It was just transferred from me to the bowling ball, then to the pins. Then we talked about also how energy can be in little bitty molecules that can also form heat. And so those molecules will move and then it will form heat. And so heat is also a type of kinetic energy. Then we talked about electricity and how electricity is another form, and light. So, kinetic energy, whenever something is in motion, it has kinetic energy. And so, this when we have like water, like solar energy, wind energy, if we're thinking about those, windmills outside, if we think of when we have water energy, hydro power, and a hydroelectricity, those things can form energy because they're moving. And so we use the electricity from our kinetic energy to run factories, power homes. If you have a stove, if you have lights in your homes, or we have schools, we use all of those things from the kinetic energy to do this. So, where does kinetic energy come from? It comes from potential energy. And so we talked about yesterday what potential energy was, that it's stored, and it's just waiting to happen. It's not happening yet, it's not actually moving yet. But once it starts moving, then it's going to be kinetic energy. And we talked about potential energy, and that all energy, all kinetic energy, begins as potential energy. So, for example, if we have our car and it's parked, that is potential energy. But once we turn on our car, once we turn the key and we start the car and we start moving, then it is going to be kinetic energy. But all kinetic energy is going to start as potential energy. So there's 3 different types of energy. We have vertical or kinetic energy. We have vertical, horizontal, and circular. And so when we think of vertical energy, we can think of maybe a rocket going off. It's going vertically up into the space. A waterfall from a height. It's vertically going down. Maybe throwing a ball up in the air, jumping rope, bouncing a ball up and down. Those are all types of vertical kinetic energy. We also have horizontal. This could be running on a track, shooting an arrow at a target, throwing a baseball, or maybe the bat hitting the baseball out into the field. Those are all types of horizontal energies, kinetic energies. And then the last one we have is circular. And so circular energy, if you think of maybe the wheels on a car or like a bike, if we think of like a tornado, that kind of travels in circular energy. If we are whisking away at eggs, those egg beaters, you whip them in circles. Those are also different types of energy. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to have you guys make a flip grid. I want you to make 2 flip grids. One, I want you to show an example of potential energy. You could do anything with this. Find something, show and explain why that this has potential energy. And then the second flip grid I want you to do is to make an example of kinetic energy, finding something at your home, doing something, having that example. And then a bonus, if you can tell me if it is horizontal, vertical, or circular, your kinetic energy, that would be an amazing bonus to add. So that's what we're going to be doing.